Okay, start recording now.
Okay. So general login service. Delete student. Inside our home component. Login component we are redirecting to one. We have delete code, delete student, delete user accounts. So, Shruti, have you tried deleting all the records? Have you tried?
No, I did not try that.
Okay. We'll see how to do that, like by iterating. It is bit simple. Like we'll iterate all the records which we get it from get all students, and we'll delete one by one student using the index ID basically. We'll first we'll see that. And meanwhile, I have modified some of the code. For get all users, we were not getting properly. So what I did is for all get student,
Yeah.
I have modified get student method. In this get student method, it will make only the get call, get REST API, and in this method, wherever we are calling, so here we have written logic by using subscribe. Actually, this subscribe, what it will do is whenever we make any REST API, once we get the response from this REST API, we are subscribing to that. So whenever we get the response, it will execute the method which is execute the statements inside this braces. So even in case of add student also we are subscribing to this REST API, and once the REST API is completed, then we are getting all the student records because this is async call. So once we get the response of previous REST API, then we are making another call. This will return us all the student records. Even for the update also, I haven't modified, but it is similar. Here we need to add subscribe method, subscribe, and inside subscribe, this is the data. Data means the for this REST API, what is the value we are getting from the REST API? The same data we'll use in our methods. Here we haven't used because we are again refreshing entire table. That's why we are making another call to get all the student records. So now what I'll do is I'll add one button here, and so every time we refresh the page, it is actually redirecting to login page. Instead of that, we'll make some small change so that we'll retain in the home page. Instead of whenever login is completed, we are actually saving the value in service. And in home component.ts, we are checking if the value is present in the username. In the login service dot username is not equal to null, then only we are executing the below statement. Otherwise, we are redirecting to login page. So instead of this service, because whenever we refresh the page, this service will be lost. So what we do is we'll use browser cache like a session cache, and we'll add this username to session cache. So until the user close this browser window, till the time the user will be available in browser cache. So I will do that small change here. Uh, so what I'm doing is whenever login is successful, we are adding login service dot username equal to data dot username. So what we'll do is, instead of this, what I'll do is session storage dot set item. Here username comma data dot username. And similarly for first name and last name also, I'll save it in session storage. Session storage dot set item full name, user full name, username, comma data dot first name, data dot last name. So here I am appending entire first name and last name, and I am assigning to full username. So we'll use this username and full username throughout the application of this, and we'll check whether the username is present in session storage. Then no need to redirect to login page, and in UI we'll show welcome to first name and last name. Instead of that, we'll use this full username so that it will be displayed in UI. So in home component.ts, here we are checking for username, right? So instead of this, I'll comment out this line and I'll copy the same thing below just for our reference. So what we'll do is session storage dot get item, and I am checking for username in that session storage. If the value is not equal to null and value is undefined, we will redirect to login page. Otherwise, okay. Currently we are using first name and last name only here. Here first name and last name only. Instead of saving full name in login component, we'll add first name equal to first name and last name equal to last name. Now for username, I am getting value from the session store instead of service. Now in login page, here instead of full name, first I'll add first name equal to first name, and last name also I'll do the same. I'll add another variable here, last name, and the same last name I'm using here. So now in our home component, instead of getting the values from the login service, we'll get it from session storage. The first name and the last name. Similarly for last name. For the real-time examples, we'll store all the values in session storage, because user may redirect to lot of pages in the application, and every time when the user refreshes the page also, it will not log out. Basically it will be stay in the login the same screen which user previously before refresh, and the login information is present after refresh also.
Yeah.
Now what we'll do is, once we log in and see, after login, we'll refresh and see whether the value is retaining or not. Login failed.
I don't.
The JSON server is not started, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so.
ng server -- watch student. I'll copy this. Okay, here we don't have I. Okay, we have I. I'll log in. Yeah, now it is login. Now we'll refresh and see. See, I just refreshed. Previously, whenever we refresh, it was redirecting to the login page. Now, when I do refresh also, it is retaining on the same page because if you go and type session store here, session storage, our values, whatever we have saved, the values will be present here.
Yeah.
So if I open in the new window and when I type the login page, because this is different session and the value will not be present and it will redirect to home page, login page basically.
Yeah.
Here if I type session storage, this value will be empty. We don't have the username and the first name, last name fields. That's why it is redirecting to
Why did you not call me?
You're on call.
login.
That's fine, but you could call me. Hey, Srinivas.
Hi Mar.
Yeah, what's going on?
He just
Mar,
record.
we did small change in the login component and we are whenever we refresh the page, actually it is redirecting to login page every time. So instead of saving that in service, the first name and last name, we are using session storage so that whenever we refresh the page, it will retain in the home page itself. Not
Then you're reading it from the session, right?
yeah. And the session storage.
Did you complete your homework that when you log in home page automatically to load all the records? Sushruth? No?
That's what I asked you and you didn't answer.
But now did you guys do it now?
we did it.
You know how to do it now? Okay, I didn't get time to do it. I mean, I'm being, oh my gosh, చంపేస్తున్నారు అనుకున్నాను 4 రోజుల నుంచి ఈ టీవీలో రావటం అది రావటం ఇది రావటం ఇట్స్ బికమ్ టూ మచ్
నెక్స్ట్ ఎలక్షన్ లో ట్రై చేయండి అయితే.
ఏది చేసేది మనం ఏదో ఊరికి ఏదో చేద్దాం అనుకుంటే అది కొంపకొల్లేరైంది.
ఏమైంది అంటే ఓకేనా లేదంటే
ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఓకే. నా ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్ నడుస్తుంది, చాలా పంచాయతీలు నడుస్తుంది దాని మీద.
అవునా, వాళ్ళు ఏదో స్టాప్ చేశారు ఈ ఏకగ్రీవాలు అనేసి పేపర్ కి ఇచ్చారు.
అదే ఓకే. సో ఏం చేశారు ఇక్కడ దీంట్లో? యూ గైస్ కాల్ ద గెట్ ఆల్ స్టూడెంట్స్ మెథడ్, రైట్? అండ్ యూ ఆల్సో డిడ్, రైట్? వై డిడ్ ఇట్ నాట్ వర్క్?
What?
You also added that method in that get all students method, right? Did you not do it?
Yeah, I did.
Then what is the difference between what you did and what Uncle did?
Uncle looped it.
Where did Uncle loop it? It's directly called.
Oh, yeah.
Mar, we did small change here actually in the get all student, right? Actually we have subscribed to that REST API. So what I explained, Sushruth, like we have subscribed to this REST API. So once we get the response from the REST API, we are setting value of student data with the data which we get it from the REST API. So this change I did.
So what did you do earlier? Earlier what did you do?
Me?
Earlier we were using this and in service we were calling the get student method, and I have modified a little bit of code here. So and I am returning only the actual REST API from here.
You are just responding the response here, right?
Yeah.
And then you are catching that response into your data element and assigning that data element to student list.
Student list.
Got it.
The student list will have all the student records. Even in the add student also, we are subscribing to that add student method. Once we get the response, we are calling get all students method.
Got it? You understand?
Hey.
Then you're not able to tell me what Uncle did to make it work. Come on, concentrate. Okay?
These are not required. Now things will work fine because async and await is not required, because once we get the response of previous REST API, we are making another REST API to get actual data.
Okay, so which means the subscribe data, it will wait for the REST API call to complete
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, this will wait until the REST API response, whether it is success or failure, then only it will come here, and we will add the error case here, like comma error.
If there is an error, then we'll display the error.
Display error here. The syntax is
There's a comma there.
syntax is E comma is not this one. I'll get that.
Yeah, just check it in Google. So which means if there is any error in the calling the REST API, it won't go into this console.log and this method. Instead, it will go into the if class, something like an error class that will print that error, so that we know that there was an error calling that REST API and what is that error, right? Error call in India.
One second, I'm taking the syntax. I'm getting the syntax ones.
Yeah.
I'm checking for the syntax of that. The syntax error any and so here we specify. So in case of successful case,
Another parentheses.
and
You deleted a parentheses earlier. Yeah.
so once the REST API is successful, it will execute these lines. And once the login on the REST API is failed, we'll do some operations like showing of error here, like the result unable to load the user details or something. So we can display console message for now. Error. Adding student. So what we'll do is we'll simulate this error case just to change the service of add student to some other API. Like here I'll add 1 2 3 4 5 6 something and this URL does not exist, so it will show us the error message in the console here whenever and even in the network tab it will show us the 404 because the REST API does not exist. On click of add student, it is trying to access this URL and this URL status is 404 and it is in red color. That means there is a error. So it is returning 404. The URL does not exist and it comes to the error block.
It also displays there.
It displays the we can display here
the error message also, right? Can you just directly go on e dot error message? Do you have that function there?
you mean this error? Yeah, we can pass this error. I'll display this error message. Even error dot status code, we can see what is the error code. Depending on that error code, we can do our operations here. So if you see the status is 404 and status text is not found. And sometimes we may get different statuses depending on the status of this status code. We can display appropriate messages here. Either the URL does not exist or
whatever. That will be a UI statement. The UI statement is nothing but you are doing a model, AJ model component. You map it to that one. You write whatever you want to do based on the type of the statement, right?
Yeah. We'll add simple error statement here. Error message equal to. I will add the similar statement here. and this variable will declare as a global variable for this class,
Where
this
do you
type
declare a
script.
global variable in a class?
At the okay,
Well,
In the init
and
okay.
in the init method, and then you have to bind it to the ng model in the UI, so that when you have that error message assigned, it prints there, right? So now here uncle just said error message. So whenever there is error message without null, then it displays. If there is value, it displays. If it is not value, it will not display. Now, if, for example, like uncle click this one,
Where's my learning
error
student?
message learning student. So
but there is no actual CSS I have added. That's why it is printing next to this. So we can add different CSS classes as we have followed in the login page. Similar to that, we
and
can.
usually that error message should be on the top of the screen.
It is like a allowed kind of thing, and the user can close this and do the operations.
Right? So like now, maybe usual errors are always in the red color. So just put
Red.
your div in the CSS to make it red color, and then print it out. Okay. Okay. Sorry,
this
guys. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the error case. In every, like in most of the cases, what we'll do is we'll not write every like this error class error method every time. So once we get the error, we write common method for all the REST APIs. Like from here, we'll throw one error message similar to this handle error message, handle notify. In this handle notify, we'll handle and show the alert message depending on the status code.
So what it means is you don't want to write that error message, that whole code for every REST call. Instead, we call one method, and one call method will have 2-3 lines. So every time you only write one single line of code. So that's called modularizing your code to make it small modules, so that those modules can be reused. Okay, so that is the concept of the OOPS concepts, object-oriented programming. Okay, so it means you modularize the whole code into small bits of pieces which can be reused at the different stages. Okay.
So I have written this method here, and similar method I'll use it in everywhere. Like in my login, in this get students also. Here I have subscribe method, and after subscribe method I am adding error method.
Error method
And this
and
method will handle.
He'll handle the errors and then display them. Got it? So that's called modularizing your reusing software code. Okay.
Because if we want to change the error message, and if we change in one place, it automatically reflects everywhere. Instead of writing in all the different methods, we have written in one line, and inside this method we can change. Okay. And Sushrut, can you try this delete all, like iterating all the rows, or shall I write that code if you are not comfortable? Like currently we are getting all the records, adding, updating, deleting, but deleting will delete. Currently it is deleting only one row. Instead of that, we need to delete all the rows. So shall we try that now? Okay.
So Srinivas, he stepped out to go and get the bottle. He didn't hear what you said. Do you want to try it? You want me to try it, right? So what Uncle was talking about is you have an individual record where you can delete. There is a method. If you delete the top button, delete all, right? Okay. Do you want to do it, or do you want Uncle to do it?
I'll try doing it.
Yeah, you'll try doing it, Srinivas. Leave it.
Okay. I'll do that. I'm sorry. I'll change the method. Delete.
Yeah, so different method you need to call when you click on that button, and in that button you need to write that code to delete all the records
Instead of one.
instead of one. Okay. So
What we'll first make a get all student method, and we'll get the response from here. In this method, we'll iterate through the list, student list. Otherwise, we have already the student list in our page. Use that student list and iterate using for loop and delete instead of passing one,
Pass all the IDs.
student ID so that it will delete all the records.
Got it? And that student ID, if you're passing, it's only receiving the index single item there. Now you may need to do array of items and then delete there, right, Srinivas?
Here, no, it will take only one index. So we'll call this method.
Multiple times. Got it?
Yeah, multiple.
So that it will delete zero. Okay, now there. In the loop, you call that method every time. First index, call that. Then when you go second index, call that third. As many n number of records, right? Until the size of that list. Yeah, array list. Then you call that. Okay.
So change this method. It will work fine. Otherwise, we'll see tomorrow. And there is actually we have a login page, right? So currently, what we are doing is oh, there is no logout button here. Okay. 1 second. I am redirecting to login page as we don't have logout button. What I'll do is I'll clear all the information from here so that now I have cleared all the data from the session storage. Now it will redirect to home page, login page basically, because the data is not present. So what we'll do is we'll add some validations to this. Like if you go to any website, whenever we click on login page, it shows if you don't specify username and password, it will show us one message saying username is required and password is required. Here we'll show the login page, but what it will do is it will make a REST API with the parameters, username and parameters, and check whether the login is successful or not. But till now user hasn't entered any data in this, but we are making a call. Instead of that, we'll restrict user at client side itself until the username and password data is filled. Then only we'll make a REST API. Until that time, we'll do the validations at client side and stop the user to make a REST API. So Angular provides, even not in Angular, HTML provide a concept called form. Using that form, we can restrict whether the user until the user is entered, data is entered. So we'll did you get that form concept, or shall I explain?
No, I think I'm good.
So what Vankal is saying is, like, every time you click on a button or anything, we are calling the REST API. So the REST API, it goes to the server, validates everything, then comes back to you. So you are unnecessarily wasting that much time. If you can write a front-end validation itself before sending the REST call, first check the basic validation, like did he enter username, did he enter password, did he enter the admin role, whatever, right? So first check those validations. Then if everything looks good, then only send it to the server, so that you are not wasting one server call without having to enter all these details, right? So that way you are minimizing the latency. So you are doing the validations quicker on the front end. The validations on the front end are faster when compared to validations doing at the back end. Right, Srinivas?
Yeah, and even if you take Amazon or something, some website, and if multiple thousands of users are hitting the server for unnecessary thing, it may slow down, like server will not able to handle all the requests. So if it is a valid request, then it is fine. But for invalid requests also, if server is handling those requests, means the performance will go down for unnecessary requests.
For example, the hackers, what they do, they want to kill the server's performance, right? So they will put one program to loop through this login page and send the login information hundreds of times. So now it is hitting the server hundreds of times. Then it is going to overload the server's memory and CPU and everything. and then it brings down the overall application's performance to down, right? So that's why in every login, when you log in, it is also going to ask you to enter the code, special code, right?
Yeah.
You know why that code is required? To minimize these kind of hackers, so that they manually enter.
Right?
Yeah.
Two-factor authentication.
Got it?
If we try multiple times, so it will show us some enter captcha, some number.
Got it?
Yeah.
Good, Srinath. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now this is our login form actually. So from here till this is the row, and till here we have a login form. So what I'll do is I'll add a form on top of this login data. So I'll add a form here, and I'll close this form at the end of the page.
So the whole login information is encapsulated in a form tag. So when you encapsulate in a form tag, you will get more features available in AngularJS that you can use to do validations on the front end itself. Got it? So that's why Uncle is using a form tag to validate the form fields. So login name, password, and all these things are the form fields. So they should be encapsulated between the form tags. So now earlier we were just doing it, so we were not doing any validation. We were sending it to the server, so we didn't need that. But now to do that validation, you need to encapsulate this information in between two form tags. Then write the next features. Go ahead.
And whenever we use any form, right, it has automatically submit feature to the form, and once the data is enter or without enter also, we can submit without making any external click. Like currently what we are doing is on click of this login button, we are explicitly making this call, login method. So this is actually form itself has a method called ng-submit. So what it will do is on click of button, it will redirect to, it will call this login method automatically. So the concept here is no need to call this method, like so as this is a button, it automatically submits the form, and this is not required actually. Button already type button only, so we'll remove this. And what I'll do is form provides one method ng-submit. So what it will do is the same logic, the login method which we are calling. So on click of this click of any button, not any button. So for the reset button, we are explicitly calling this reset method, but for login, we are not doing anything here, and it automatically submits the form by using this method. So on submit of this method, we are calling login method. Now we'll see whether the login method, because we'll see on click of this login whether it is going to submit the form or not, and after that we'll add some validations here. Now we don't have any click method for this, so I'll just click here. See, it is submitting the form. As we don't have any method on click method for this one, but internally the form is submitting and it is validating with login field. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Now you don't have to click that login button. Instead, you enter user ID and password. You just click enter. It automatically goes. Okay.
Yeah.
So those
and
are
even for,
features of
if you
form
click login method, login button also, there is no click event present for this one, but it internally submits the form, as the button is also inside the form. That's why it is submitting the corresponding form.
If there is no corresponding action, then it automatically takes the ng-submit action. If there is a corresponding action here, like click here, there is an action for reset, it will call the reset button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we'll add one validation here, and we need to add one more, like to access this form, we need to declare one variable here. The syntax here is, so if you specify student form equal to ng form, so that we can access this form element. This is a kind of reference to this form element. So this form element will use inside this form tag. So what we'll do is we'll check whether the username field is empty. Then we'll display some message saying username is required. Username is required once the form is submitted. So I'll show you the div. So I'm going to add username is required here. Username is required once the condition here is *ng if condition I'm writing, and once the form is submitted, that means this reference dot, it has form object inside this. So form dot, there is a method called submitted, variable called submitted. So what it will do is it will check whether the form is submitted.
If it is submitted,
And the value of this username is
null.
Or length equal to 0, anything is fine.
Yeah.
And here I am checking dot or equal to null, and we are displaying this message.
So for username, do you have to reference the form name dot form dot username, or just directly the username field?
If you don't specify this one, it by default it will show whenever we get into this login page itself, it will show us the message.
Right.
What I'll do is I'll remove this I. Okay. Now when I refresh, username, here we have username equal to null. We'll add one more condition mark here.
Yeah.
And without refresh we are getting, without submit we are getting or not.
Length means దాంట్లో ఉన్న characters, how much is the length. If that length is also less than one,
words, then
less than equal to 0, so it means nothing is there.
And this what it will do is this is kind of if the first object not equal to null, then only it will go and execute the next line after dot. If it is null, then it will ignore this. In most of the cases we have to use this, otherwise it will throw null pointer exception for this object. So this is a syntax to check null checks in HTML.
I think it's not able to call. When to call it, we didn't specify, right?
No, it is automatically take care mark. If the username is null, and yeah, it automatically will check the condition here in one of the here I am writing that condition just to check whether the condition is getting successful or not. So it is false now. Why it is false? This should be true.
I think it's checking both the conditions. Remove one of the conditions.
No, Mark. It is R actually.
Or active. That's what I'm saying. It's checking both the conditions, right?
and is
It's true, right? Yeah.
Either this one is true or this one is true. We need to show the error message.
If you put and then it has to do both.
Then you don't need that question mark. Srinivas.
Oh yeah, you don't need the optional value.
You don't need that option, right?
Not optional. Actually, this will check for the not null condition of this username.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
First it will check the not null condition of this username, then it will check the length.
Yeah, this is not required. Actually, here it is checking if it is null, then it will execute only this. Otherwise, it will come here and execute. Right.
So in that case, then the second statement should be more than enough, right? Why do you need the first statement? Because
Yeah, this is not required actually.
oh, but now you removed the question mark. So yeah,
I'll add the question mark now.
got it. Right? It will check both the null and then it will check the length. And you add a question mark in this form. But whereas in the
okay,
code,
okay.
in the TypeScript code, that means it's optional. Here it means it is checking for the null object. Okay, that's the difference. So the difference between user component and the backend business component is the TypeScript is business, right? Business logic, and this one is the UI. So UI key daniki difference adi. Okay.
Oh, okay. It is actually not checking for that. Or we might need to write that null check because
Okay.
it is actually failing here and it is not checking for the length.
Got it. Okay.
See here it is showing only these characters.
Sharing it.
Screen stop sharing.
Oh, 1 second, I am sharing. We'll add that null check here and see. Null check and
So Srinivas, we still can't see your screen.
it is sharing, ma. Okay, it is.
Okay,
It is
yeah,
showing
now it's
connect.
loading.
It's loading now.
Now I think you are able to see.
It's loading. Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Ma, I'll. I'm just checking for the condition whether it is true or not. Username equal to true. Then it is true. It should print this line. I'll remove. Because this by default this will be displayed because
Yeah.
if the condition is true,
Yep.
username
Is required. Now, if you just say ng if only if these two conditions is either one of these is satisfied, then only it should display that message.
it is satisfying this condition, but somehow it is
But-
not.
But when you did the ng submit, it worked. You remember?
Yeah, ng submit it will work because
Are you following? Maybe?
this condition is true. ng here we have this. Not required here. Equal to null and the length is 0. Okay, we'll see. Now if I remove, then it is coming fine. But this condition is true. The length is equal to 0. Okay. I'll check this, mark. Why the condition is.
Yeah, fine, Srinivas. That's okay. That's not a big deal. Okay.
But normally, what it will happen is if you don't specify the submitted, so by default it will show one message here. Username is required without entering any data. So
And then once you start entering the data, it should disappear, right?
Yeah.
yeah, once user submitted or once we click here and come out of this, then only we should show this username is required. Until the user does not press any.
Work even now.
Now it is working. Username
Now
is
refresh
required.
the page.
If I come here and come out, then it is coming
Then
fine.
it's coming. Oh, okay. That's
Like,
when it is
when you
triggering.
start
Okay.
like in the
Then,
launch,
yeah.
it doesn't come.
Okay, can you start typing something?
Yeah, now it will
Start
go.
typing display, right?
Here, no, I think it is not honoring this condition. I'll check this condition. But normally, on submit only, we need to add. That's why I have added this condition here. Not form dot submitted and the username is even for this login method, right? I think it is not required. So submitted is fine here. So I'll check this. Can I click here? Now this condition is
Between two
some
server.
1 second more. I'll check this condition once.
Mm-hmm.
F dot submitted and password dot length. It is same. Username dot length.
No, you added the form in between, Srinivas. After
Form that. Yeah. This is a form object, and this is not required actually. This is a form object, and
it itself is a form object, right? Yeah.
this condition is not. So now if I click here, actually it is submitting, but as well as it is printing here.
So which means it is going to this one, and then it's also going to the REST call.
But we should not make the login method. So what we'll do is on ng submit we'll add the same condition. We'll check whether the form is valid.
Yeah, maybe change and add an HTML.
Login method.
Change and an HTML.
Hmm?
You have to use some conditions and in
But
HTML.
but this is not HTML. This is
okay.
AngularJS, right?
Yeah.
AngularJS has you can use Angular.
And
Why do you need again form? Vishwa?
but here actually it is checking for the valid condition here, so it is not present in the object. It is actually on the form element, form dot valid, then only it is checking. And here what we'll do is we'll add one, because to make the form valid or invalid, whenever we submit any data from here, it is for every control we need to write a required, so that this form will be valid or invalid depending on the value. So we have a required concept for input. That means we are making this input as a required. So if you don't specify this value, this form will become invalid.
And it won't get submitted. And why did you write end login, Nani? Akada?
If the form is valid, then only we are making login method.
But why is the end symbol there?
If both are true, if this is true, then this will call this method. Otherwise, it will come out from here.
Yeah, it's a little complicated. I don't know why they put end there, because
Otherwise, we can do one thing more. We can get the object from here, and inside the login method, we'll check whether the form is valid. Then only we'll make the REST APIs. Otherwise,
no. I think then again we are anyway going back to the
Server.
not server, at least business logic, right? I think
business logic.
this is fine, right? This is okay.
We'll check the value of this form.
Yeah, when you say required, right, then it should say valid, right?
Yeah, it should be invalid. We'll check whether what is the value we are getting here. No, it is valid is true, but still it is true.
Why is it true? You already put a required, right, for one of them?
I'm just printing the object. Valid is true. delete. I have error false. Now I'm going to check this. Validators value changes. Status valid.
Yeah, dot status is equal to valid demo.
Yeah, this should be invalid actually.
Yeah.
Somehow there is some problem with this line.
No, form dot status equal to valid, right?
No, everything actually this form dot valid or form dot invalid should take care.
Yeah.
Form dot in.
No, I saw that code, yeah, in many places in AWS.
Even previously also we have used that. Okay, Mar, I'll check this why it is not working. But the concept is this one. Tomorrow morning I'll explain you what we did. We did some mistake here for this conditions as well as for this. So, but understand the concept. Like for any form, we need to use for any fields which is going to submit to the server. We place those into form tag. Inside form tag, we'll check whether the form is valid or not. Then only we make a server API. Before that, till that time, we'll handle all the validations and the error messages, displaying of error messages, everything. Maximum validations we cover at client side using this form. And this is actually, there are two kinds of forms we have. One is model driven form. That means all the validations we do at the client side, and there is a concept called template driven form, and other one is normally we use in our projects. That is we create all the form elements and controls in the TypeScript file. That is, I forgot the name.
Oh, okay. So there's a there are two ways of presenting it.
Two ways. Yeah.
One is to create all the elements in the HTML file, or you also create all the elements directly in the Angular TypeScript file, and then you can directly send it over here, right?
Yeah. Mar, 1 minute, Mar. I'm just checking for that.
If you're not there to Apple Watches,
Yeah, one is template driven forms and other one is reactive forms. The concept is same. We use form instead of all these things. We use form group, and inside our TypeScript business logic, here we create what are the controls we need to use. For login, we have 3 controls: username and password. So these 3 controls will add to the form group, and we'll add all the validations like Angular provides validators, different validators dot required, validators dot max length. Those validators by default Angular provides. We can add those validators, and we can do the validations and display the error messages accordingly. So tomorrow I'll explain you both the scenarios, like model driven and the reactive forms.
Okay, so
login.
model driven, you are going to write all the controls in the HTML, and the reactive you put everything in TypeScript and group them under groups, and then you will reference that group only here in the form in the HTML.
And for every control we specify what is the form control name with that form control, and we don't use this ng model concept there. We use only form control. Form control dot get value means it will get the value from this input, and password control dot get value means it will return as the form password field data.
Got it?
So in our projects we use
reactive
forms instead of model driven, because here we have to manually write all the logic like this. So instead of this, we can directly write validators dot required means it automatically checks for the value and the length, and it shows the error message automatically.
Got it.
Yeah. Tomorrow I'll show you how to write and I'll fix this model driven form code. I am taking the code from here and I'll add here. There is some problem with this code. I'll rectify this code as well as we'll see what exactly went wrong, and I'll show you how to write reactive forms and validations tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, Srinivas.
So to practice that, shall I revert? Are you writing in this application or different application, that delete code?
I'll do it in this one.
Are you using this one?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll revert this code.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. I'll create another file here. Take a backup of this, and I'll revert this code. You can use this. Tomorrow I'll copy from here and I'll modify the code. And don't touch this file. This is untitled file.
Yeah.
And you can change this file.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning I'll explain you what we did, some mistake and reactive forms tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is that homework for you today?
No.
What homework?
One do it all.
Okay, good.
Deleting all, and before deleting, take a backup of this student copy. Okay, we have already, and because it will remove all the records from here. Copy the records again from the copy.json and try to run multiple times.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Srinivas. Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh.
Yeah. Ganesh is reading more. He is having some exam.
Oh.
Final